going on, everybody? Welcome back to KTM Sports Nation. I am your host, Kevin Tyler McGuinness. I'm so glad to be back on this week. It is Super Bowl weekend. We have the Patriots. Unfortunately, the New England Patriots made the Super Bowl. We have them against the Seattle Seahawks. The NFC and the AFC champions are facing this Sunday, February 8th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. in Santa Clara, California, in Levi Stadium, the home of the San Francisco 49ers. Both teams are 14-3 regular season. They both had phenomenal postseasons. The Seahawks with the number 1 seed, the Patriots the number 2 seed. They had to beat Denver to get to the Super Bowl, and they did that. So it's the New England Patriots against the Seattle Seahawks rematch of the 2015 Super Bowl, one of the most historic Super Bowl moments, with Malcolm Butler's game-winning goal line interception that clinched the Super Bowl for the New England Patriots. That was one of the most shocking moments in the history of the Super Bowl and in the NFL. Because you would think Russell Wilson, would give the ball to Marshawn Lynch, but he decided to pass it, and the rest is history. Malcolm Butler wins the Super Bowl, and the Patriots beat the Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl. So this was 11 years ago. 11 years ago, that was Super Bowl 49 between the Seattle Seahawks and New England Patriots. Totally different teams now. Now, that was Tom Brady and Russell Wilson. Now we have Sam Darnold and the upcoming second-running MVP, Drake May. Drake May has been phenomenal this season. Matthew Stafford just won the NFL MVP last night. Very close, so the votes. It was 24-23, Stafford winning MVP over Drake May. So it was a very close running for NFL MVP. Njigba won NFL Offensive Player of the Year, the wide receiver number 11 for Seattle Seahawks. He's been absolutely phenomenal this season. He's had the best season in the history, I think, Seattle wide receiver ever. He had a 1,700-yard season, multiple 100-yard games, many touchdowns. He was an absolute killer on the outside. Darnold loved throwing him the ball, and having Njigba and having Drake May, two of the best players that won, significant awards last night, it was phenomenal. But now that this is Marks, like I said, this is a rematch of that Super Bowl 49, and with new faces, Drake May, Sam Darnold. Who would have thought Sam Darnold would be in this position now that he is, with the Jets? You would never, thinking back, you would never think he would be this good as he is now. I mean, he was phenomenal with the Vikings, but now he's in the big game. This is the biggest game of his life Sunday. I'm expecting, and I'm rooting for Seattle to beat New England Patriots. It will be very close. The Patriots could win too. The Patriots they're looking for their 7th Super Bowl title, which I believe is the most in the history of the NFL. The one thing that supports the Patriots is that, they are 5-0 when it comes to winning the white jersey. All white uniforms. The Patriots are 5-0 all time in the Super Bowl and the regular season playoffs. They're just unbelievable. That could definitely, I don't know why, but it's an advantage, and it says 37 out of 58 games, 64% of the time. 64% of the time, a team that wears a white jersey wins the Super Bowl. That's pretty crazy. 64% of the time, white jersey teams win the Super Bowl, and that's 16 out of the last 21 Super Bowls that have won the Super Bowl have all worn white jerseys. So the Patriots will be wearing their white jersey. The Seattle Seahawks will be wearing their navy blue with green, jerseys. So I'm hoping Seattle could, rewrite that narrative and win this game. But like I said, it's going to be very close. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. The only reason why I would think it'd be a blowout, I think Seattle's defense, which has been absolutely phenomenal, totally shuts down the New England Patriots' offense with Drake May, throwing the ball. If they limit Drake May's mobility and pocket presence, I think the Patriots are in for a long day. But the Patriots have multiple weapons with Hunter Henry. Um, they have, like I said, Stephon Diggs, his first Super Bowl. Who would have thought that Stephon Diggs, being with the Buffalo Bills and AFC Championship games multiple seasons, now finds himself in a situation with the New England Patriots going to the Super Bowl with that team and possibly winning a Super Bowl with the team. It's pretty crazy, not coming from a Buffalo Bill to a New England Patriots. So he is a phenomenal player. The Seahawks could definitely win this game easily too if the defense, like I said, the defense comes to play and like they have in the postseason all year long. I mean, they made major stops. They've totally shut down players like Christian McCaffrey. Brock Purdy had a long day against. I mean, their kickoff returns, even alone, they could totally change a significant part of the game. Shaheed is unbelievable. He could run on the out, wide receiver. He could run it back for a touchdown when it comes to punting and kickoff returns. The kid is very explosive. Seattle has a lot of weapons with Cooper Kupp too. Tight ends, Kenneth Walker. I mean, I can't say enough about Kenneth Walker. He's been absolutely great since Charlemagne has been out. Kenneth Walker has definitely carried the load big time and been a consistent threat in the run game. He's been phenomenal for the Seattle Seahawks run game. So yeah, we'll see when it comes to the matchups. You got Christian Gonzalez versus Jackson Smith and Jigba. That's going to be some matchup because if Christian Gonzalez can't get the stop against Njigba, it's going to be a long day for the Patriots because this kid is so explosive on the outside. He is the best receiver in football this year besides Devontae Adams. His numbers show it. He's been absolutely phenomenal. If he has his way with this corner, it's going to be a long night. Another matchup I'm looking forward to is DeMarcus Lawrence versus Will Campbell. Who pressure will get to the quarterback more and who will cause, not just with the getting to the quarterback, who will cause the more turnovers between Drake May and Sam Darnold. Drake May has been phenomenal with not turning over the ball. Sam Darnold has been great. Like I said, in the NFC Championship game, Sam Darnold didn't throw a pick in that game, was absolutely sensational. No turnovers, you win most of your games. It's just bottom line. Drake May could definitely not turn over the ball either. It's going to come down to either whose defense steps up, obviously, and who could control the ball and not turn over the ball when it comes to quarterback play. I think Sam Darnold, though, is definitely on a mission to winning a Super Bowl this year. I think they have the better team than the New England Patriots. I think Sam Darnold has more weapons. I believe the defense for Seattle is better, but unfortunately, you cannot count out the New England Patriots because they just know how to win. They've won They've won 6 Super Bowls. You can't take that lightly. They had the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL, Tom Brady. Now within a couple years of rebuilding, not even that long from the last Super Bowl and playoff appearances, 2019 was Tom Brady's last year with the New England Patriots. Now in 2026, they're back where they were for 20 plus years. The Super Bowl 60. The Patriots are back in the Super Bowl, and I hate to see it because I can't stand the New England Patriots. Everybody's gonna watch this game because of all the the nostalgic. Like I said, if you've been watching the NFL in the previous 10 years, like I said, between the Patriots and the Seahawks should have won the Super Bowl last time these guys played against each other. But if Russell Wilson just gave the ball to Marshawn Lynch, he would have 2 Super Bowl rings, and God only knows, maybe Russell Wilson will still be the quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks. Like I said, bad play calling. It was a big shock. One of the most historic, game-changing plays in the history of the NFL. But the past is the past. But I just want to say this fact. The Super Bowl is consistently one of the most watched U.S. broadcasts in the history of television. Um, Last year's Super Bowl drew 127 million U.S. viewers. It was the largest audience ever measured across network and streaming. The previous record was the year before, to 123 million. So that just shows every Super Bowl is growing and growing and growing in the United States and worldwide. People watch it, other countries. It's just amazing how much football has grown every year. It's going to be amazing to see this game because I think it's going to be real close. I think Sam Darnold is going to have the game of his life, to be honest with you. Drake May could definitely pull it off. Drake May has been absolutely sensational for the New England Patriots. It's just a matter of who is going to not turn over the ball. Like I said, Sam Darnold has revived his career in Seattle. His decision making has been great. He's not turned over the ball. His ball security, he doesn't fumble the ball. I never see Sam Darnold fumbling the ball. If anything, he'll throw a pick, but he hasn't done it. He's had multiple turnover-free games this postseason. I thought he was going to have a struggle against the Los Angeles Rams, but he was absolutely sensational. Drove down the field, took advantage of field position, and just torched the Rams defense when he needed to. But also Drake May, second-year quarterback, MVP season, no doubt. Throwing 31 touchdowns for 4,300 yards. His mobility is also great because he has the most 20-plus yard running sneak quarterback runs. It's the most in the NFL. It's a great way to avoid pressure, too, because if you can't catch this guy when he runs out of the pocket, it's going to be a major problem. So Seattle's going to have to limit him escaping his line, and they're going to have to go after him. But like I said, 31 touchdowns, 4,300 yards is pretty phenomenal. Like I said, Matthew Stafford was non-existent or retired. Drake May would be the NFL MVP. But if Sam Darnold's protection and the way he doesn't turn over the ball consistently, he could definitely win this game for the Seattle Seahawks. I think the defense for Seattle will show up. I believe it's still going to be a close game. I have it similar to the score it was in 2015 when they last played in the Super Bowl. 20-24, 31-28. I think it's going to be close. Could come down to a game-winning field goal for all we know, with the quarterbacks driving down the field with 2 minutes left in the game. Whoever gets the ball last could very easily win the Super Bowl for this game. Seattle's got an amazing balanced attack, though. Driving down the field, they could control the clock and tempo with so many weapons. And Jigba, Kupp, Walker, their tight ends, they're just constant weapons all over the place. But like I said, if New England's defense could stop and cause problems for Sam Darnold, Drake May could very easily win this game and be explosive for the New England Patriots. Seattle was the top-ranked defense in the NFL this season, forcing stops and turnovers. That is a huge stat when it comes to winning championships and being a Super Bowl champion. They have phenomenal players on their defensive end. They have Leonard Williams, Witherspoon, so many different playmakers that could change a momentum of a game. The run game was phenomenal. Like I said, before Charlemagne, hurt himself, Kenneth Walker has been a consistent, reliable guy. He's been a consistent, reliable guy. When Sam Darnold doesn't need to throw the ball, they could have a play action, or they could just hand it off to him. Seattle's line, I think this is the best line they've had since the Super Bowl. Sam Darnold looks completely comfortable in the pocket. He doesn't have to force anything down the field. And plus, they've been blocking for this guy, Walker. Walker has been absolutely phenomenal running on defenses. He totally was running all over San Francisco. He had 3-4 touchdowns in that game. Totally torched them. And if they have that same protection in this game, it's going to be a very long night for the New England Patriots. But if they could get after Sam Darnold and they could break through that run game, it could be close. It could be very close. and the Patriots could have a really good shot. I mean, they already have a good shot, but they could have an even better shot if they could force turnovers on the defensive end and cause Sam Darnold to be very uncomfortable in the pocket. The battle of the defense is going to change this game. Everybody talks about offenses and quarterback matchups with Sam Darnold and Drake May. Everybody's talking about them. But what I believe is who gets the stops could totally shape the winner of the Super Bowl for this year. Because if the defenses show up for Seattle like they've showed up all season, like I said, they could very easily win the Super Bowl just with their defense, because their defense they can put away teams. It's going to come down to who can make critical stops and takeaways in huge moments, like in the fourth quarter or before halftime, for example. It's going to come down to who can make the most important stops for this team. It's going to be phenomenal. Like I said, I have the Seattle Seahawks winning this game 31-28 or 28-24, somewhere along that. I think it's going to still be high scoring, but it could very easily be on each side of the ball, of the field. I think defenses could definitely win this game for the Patriots or the Seahawks, but I'm hoping the Patriots win. I believe if the Seahawks win, the NFL MVP will either be Njigba or Sam Darnold, but I believe Sam Darnold will get the MVP if he goes out there and has a 300-yard game, 3+ touchdown game. I don't know how they wouldn't give it to Sam Darnold if he doesn't get it, unless Njigba totally has a 300-yard game like Cooper Kupp did a couple years ago for the Los Angeles Rams against the Cincinnati Bengals. If the Patriots win, I believe Drake May will definitely be the guy that gets the MVP. I don't see them giving it to really anybody else on the New England Patriots besides him, because he's just been the overall star, up-and-coming star for that team. I'm still trying to figure out how Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft did not get into the freaking Hall of Fame. I don't know. It's like, how do these guys, one of the greatest owner in the history of the NFL, doesn't get into the Hall of Fame, and then you have Bill Belichick not get into the Hall of Fame? It's an absolute disgrace for the NFL for these guys not to get into the Hall of Fame first ballot. You're talking about, to my opinion, and I can't stand the New England Patriots, the greatest coach in the history of the NFL, Bill Belichick, the best coach there ever was, easily. He won 6 Super Bowls and consistently dominating and winning divisions every year. The AFC East was owned by the Patriots, and you don't give Bill Belichick you don't give him a first ballot Hall of Fame? Come on. It's ridiculous. I'm thinking they won't give if they don't give Tom Brady a first ballot Hall of Fame, because you're talking about arguably the greatest coach in the history of the NFL. Arguably the greatest coach, the greatest owner in the history of a franchise, Robert Kraft. These guys are absolutely built the Patriots with Tom Brady. If Tom Brady doesn't get in first ballot, there's something seriously wrong. I believe Eli Manning should have got in. That was totally robbery, but it is what it is. Second year. I mean, I thought he would be first ballot, Eli, because he's top 10 in everything in the NFL when it comes to Hall of Fame numbers and touchdowns and yards. I think Eli should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer, in my opinion. And plus, he had 2 of the greatest Super Bowl runs in the history of the NFL. Congrats to Drew Brees, though. They just inducted him into the Hall of Fame, one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. Drew Brees, besides Tom Brady, I believe he has the second most touchdowns in the history of the NFL. He's been absolutely sensational his whole career. Well deserved of the Hall of Fame. But Tom Brady, if he doesn't get first ballot, Bill Belichick should be first ballot. Robert Kraft should have been first ballot, but it is what it is. They didn't get in first ballot. These voters, whoever's not voting these people in is a disgrace. They should be in the Hall of Fame easily. But you know, it is what it is. So the Patriots, the way of getting back at these voters, you know, and keeping the Patriots, in people's minds is winning the Super Bowl this weekend too. Um, this team just doesn't go away. The Patriots just know how to win, plain and simple. Mike Vrabel's been absolutely phenomenal as a coach. He'll be the first coach, I believe, in NFL history to win a Super Bowl as a player of the New England Patriots and a coach as the New England Patriots, and just a player as a coach of a team in general. It'll be the first time ever for a Patriot player and now coach winning a Super Bowl. Um, the Patriots are very good. They've always been good. Um, they could very easily win the Super Bowl when it comes to Drake May's play. Um, it's the first Super Bowl in the Bay Area since 2010. It's gonna be something. The Patriots defense is phenomenal when it comes to getting pressure, like I said, and takeaways. They have 8 takeaways throughout this postseason. So even though people are talking about Sam Darnold versus Drake May, I think the defenses, if they step up, could definitely be a big difference for either team. Um, the Patriots are very dangerous defensively too. Everybody talks about the Seahawks being the best defense, number one, and everything, but the Patriots could definitely change the way things play out. It's just plain and simple. So we'll see what happens when it comes to this game. It's gonna be interesting. 14-3, both teams, well deserved, great seasons. The 60% chance though, betting odds is putting is their money. If you're putting your money on this game, the underdog is the New England Patriots. They have the Seahawks being a 60% chance to win the Super Bowl this week. It's pretty high, 60-40. I think that's considerably high, 60-40%. Seattle's, like I said, they have the explosive offense. I think they've just the better overall team. The Seahawks I think they're just more fitted when it comes offensively and defensively to win the Super Bowl this year. Like I said, Sam Darnold and Jigba, all these other guys on this team, Cooper Kupp, these guys are been phenomenal for the for the Seattle Seahawks. But Drake May has been sensational. He's had multiple comeback wins and knowing how to drive down a field when it matters most for the New England Patriots all season. He will put his name in New England Patriots history with the Super Bowl, adding a 7th Super Bowl to this franchise, which should be absolutely insane in the second year. And, the Patriots will officially be, if they're not the most hated team already, they will be the most hated team again if they win a Super Bowl again. Because, honestly, half of America, they do not, more than half, I don't think, it says it, 60% chance of the United States and voter and bettors want the Seattle Seahawks to win the Super Bowl against the New England Patriots. This game will be on NBC or Peacock, depending if you want to stream it or watch it on NBC Sports app or NBC on national television. 6:30 p.m. rematch of Super Bowl 49, 2015. It was, like I said, decided by a last-minute interception. It's gonna be a phenomenal game. I think Kenneth Walker is gonna be a major part of taking the load off of Sam Darnold's shoulders. Because if they start, giving Sam Darnold the pressure, I think handing the ball off to Kenneth Walker and hopefully blocking for him could definitely cause the Seattle Seahawks to win this game through maybe the run game. Because if the passing game is totally being shut down, because the Patriots could definitely shut down the passing game. They are a phenomenal defense. we'll see. We'll see. The time of possession is going to be a major thing because, like I said, if there's 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter and Sam Darnold has time to drive down the field, or if Drake May has time to drive down the field, and say if it comes down to a field goal, I think the game's over, honestly, because I think these quarterbacks are they're more than capable to driving down the field and winning the Super Bowl for these teams. Um, I think I believe both kickers could end the game easily for this Super Bowl victory for either team. Um, but hopefully the Patriots do not win because I can't stand the Patriots. They are a rival of the New York Giants. No matter if Eli or any of these people don't play anymore for New England either, like Tom Brady. There's still Massachusetts, close enough to Boston. As a Giant fan, I am rooting for the Seattle Seahawks to pull off the victory because they are the favorite too. But I also want them to beat the New England Patriots. We shall see what happens when it comes to this game. Just want to thank you guys for joining on Instagram too, and on YouTube. It's been an interesting week when it comes to listening online on ESPN and seeing how many people are rooting against, the Seahawks and the Patriots. And be honest, like I said, based off of ESPN, Fox Sports, and many other major networks, I believe mostly everybody's going to be rooting for the Seattle Seahawks, because the Patriots are not a well-liked team. So what do you guys say on Instagram? Go Coach Vrabel. Oh, we got somebody rooting for the Patriots because he was a Titans coach. Somebody from Tennessee is saying that they're rooting for Coach Vrabel because he was the Tennessee Titans head coach. Um, Vrabel was a great coach in Tennessee as well. Made it to AFC Championship game with Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is the best running back in football, in my opinion. The guy is an absolute beast. Every single year, he call him King Derrick Henry. He's just phenomenal, phenomenal. Yes, Drew Brees, Hall of Famer. Yes, Drew Brees got in first ballot. He's the best. One of the best quarterbacks to ever play in the history of the NFL. Absolutely sensational. Every single season he's played. One of the most accurate quarterbacks to ever throw a football as well. Besides, I believe the only person that's accurate or the greatest accuracy in the history of the NFL when it comes to the quarterback position. Even Tom Brady said the greatest thrower of the football, and I've said this in other shows, greatest thrower of the football in the history of the NFL is Aaron Rodgers. Drew Brees is right there because Drew Brees is absolutely sensational. Drew Brees he started as a Charger, then he went to the New Orleans Saints and won a Super Bowl with the Saints thanks to a great defense too. The defense was good with the New Orleans Saints, but Drew Brees was phenomenal that whole season and well deserved the Super Bowl with the victory against the Indianapolis Colts many years ago. I believe it was early 2000s, and Peyton Manning threw a pick that sealed the game against the New Orleans Saints, and the Saints were the Super Bowl champions. Super Bowl champion New Orleans Saints that year. Plus, Drew Brees has got amazing stats. Like I said, I believe he's second all time in passing touchdowns. Drew Brees just phenomenal. Every 571 touchdowns, 80,000 yards, 80,358 yards. So 571 touchdowns, 243 picks. Phenomenal quarterback. His completion percentage, 67%. That's way more than half of his throws have been caught. 67%. That's crazy accurate to me. Absolutely phenomenal. He's got a 98 career overall passer rating all time. 98. That's ridiculous. Drew Brees is a legend in the NFL and one of the best to ever throw a football for sure. He's been absolutely sensational. Um, I still can't believe, even though I can't stand the Patriots, though, back to New England, how Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick did not get into the Hall of Fame. What an absolute robbery. Absolute robbery. Um, and Tom Brady, after them getting snubbed from the Hall of Fame, is saying like, "Am I going to be snubbed because of they have had so many conspiracies and all these gates against them that they've gotten caught with Deflategate, Spygate, but it doesn't matter. They still won. They still won 20 plus years of consistently making the Super Bowl, making the AFC Championship game every single year with these guys. So I'm going to say it for the Patriots. And I'm not a Patriots fan. If Tom Brady does not get first ballot Hall of Fame, there's something seriously wrong with the NFL voting, and they should just totally get rid of voting. I mean, you can't get rid of the Hall of Fame because you got so many different, legends in there, amazing players and quarterbacks and wide receivers and tight ends, defensive ends. It's like Tom Brady has to be in the Hall of Fame first ballot because it's going to be an absolute disgrace, and people are really going to tear up the NFL and Roger Goodell, the owner of the NFL, if Tom Brady does not get in first ballot. But Drew Brees, well deserved, phenomenal quarterback, phenomenal numbers, one of the best to ever throw a football for sure. He torched the Giants many times, my team. Um, Also had many shootouts against Drew Brees with Eli, but Drew Brees, one of a kind, one of the best to ever throw a football in the history of the NFL. So what do you guys think? What's your call for this Super Bowl? Do you believe the Seattle Seahawks will win the Super Bowl, or do the New England Patriots add another gut-wrenching loss for the Seattle Seahawks in a rematch 11 years later in Santa Clara, California, where Tom Brady will be attending because he loves Santa Clara, California. He was a 49er fan growing up, Tom Brady, so he also said he will be attending this game and seeing. I don't know if Tom Brady wants the Patriots to win because he has a big ego. Um I mean, he's phenomenal. He's phenomenal, the best quarterback to ever play, but I don't think it's been stated that he wants the Patriots to win because then, they for some reason they might start comparing, Drake May to Tom Brady, making and winning Super Bowls consistently. And I don't know if Tom Brady wants that comparison started because, I still think there's a comparison with Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes because Patrick Mahomes is still only 28, but Tom Brady, I don't think wouldn't want Drake May deep down to win Super Bowls consistently with the New England Patriots because then they're going to start comparing the two. And I believe Tom Brady wants to be always the best quarterback ever and also the best quarterback to ever wear a Patriots jersey. But Drake May's still very young and, we'll see what happens. Like I said, let's go Seahawks. I hope they beat the heck out of the New England Patriots. The defense totally rocks Drake May's world. We shall see. It's going to be watched all over the United States. Like I said, I think this will be more than 127 million viewers for this game. Like last year was the most. 2024 was the most, and then 2025 became more. 2026, I think I think it'll be 130 million easy this year. when it comes to watching the most watchable entertainment, sports, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's the most watched broadcast in the history of the United States. The Super Bowl game, which is Super Bowl 60. Hard to believe, Super Bowl 60. Super Bowl 60. I mean, I remember Super Bowl 40, Super Bowl 45. I remember when the Giants won the Super Bowl, but now we have Super Bowl 60 in 2026 in a rematch of the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks. Besides the Super Bowl, the other considered major U.S. events watched on television is the Oscars, and now we have the Olympics starting tonight. The Winter Olympics is back. It's in Switzerland. I think it's one of the best places you could have the Olympics is in Switzerland, which is phenomenal. Um, 30-second commercial, Super Bowl commercial is could cost 10 up to 10 million. It's pretty insane. So people don't only watch because of the game, which I watch it because of the game mainly, but people don't watch it also because of the game. They watch it because of the movie trailers and commercials and halftime shows. So this just consistently causes major money into the NFL by watching certain things like this, and viewership goes up. I'm hoping for a good game, honestly. I mean, if it's a blowout, it's a blowout. I hope that it's the Seahawks blowing out the Patriots because I do not want to see the Patriots lifting the Super Bowl. But the stat that totally pops out to me is 37 out of 58 games out of the last 58 Super Bowls. 37, that's a lot out of 58. I said this before. 64% of the time win the Super Bowl. And that's 16 out of 21. The last 21 Super Bowls have been won by teams in white jerseys. Chiefs did it. Giants did it. Patriots could do it. Hopefully it doesn't happen. It's a consistent pattern. Hopefully that pattern's broken. And then Sam Darnold has the game of his life and beats the Patriots. Just hope it happens because I don't want to see the Patriots. I'm not watching the NFL for at least a week until all the celebrations are over when it comes to the New England Patriots winning the Super Bowl because they are close enough to Boston. I can't stand them. Can't stand the New England Patriots. They're a great franchise, but they are from Massachusetts, Foxborough, Massachusetts. So it's close enough to Boston. There's three teams that I can't stand in the NFL. It's the New York Jets, Dallas Cowboys. There's other teams too, but these are my top three. Dallas Cowboys and the New England Patriots probably being it's in the top three. I don't know if it's my first, but it's definitely top three. New England Patriots, Dallas Cowboys, and the New York Jets is my three most hated teams in the NFL. It's going to come down to, like I said, quarterback play. It's going to come down to defenses. It's a big rematch, huge rematch for what happened in the last Super Bowl because I couldn't believe when Malcolm Butler came down with that interception. The worst call, in my opinion, in the history of sports, whether it's basketball, soccer, hockey, baseball. This was the worst decision in the history of sports. I don't know how you don't give the ball to Marshawn. Everybody was in shock. So this is the chance for Seattle to redeem that situation and beat the team that they want their revenge on. I mean, I'm certain that people in that front office for the Seattle Seahawks, they would love to beat the team that crushed their dream of winning back-to-back Super Bowls in 2014, and they lost in 2015 against the Patriots. They would have been Super Bowl champions, so back to back. So they could rewrite that 11 years later and get their revenge with Sam Darnold possibly and most likely winning the NFL Super Bowl MVP. I don't see anybody else besides Njigba winning the Super Bowl for these teams. But New England's looking to do what they do best: win championships. 7th Super Bowl. It's adding already to a record number of Super Bowl appearances. They'll have the most wins ever, franchise wise. But Seattle's looking to rewrite the story and beat this team and have revenge on the New England Patriots. It could be decided, like I said, by a field goal. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Seattle has been very impressive this postseason with the 41-6 win against the 49ers in the divisional round, and then winning a very close game. But like I said, Sam Darnold didn't turn the ball over, and that's huge when it comes to championship games and Super Bowl games, with the big 31-27 win in the NFC Championship game. The Seahawks are also 9-game winning streak going into the Super Bowl, which is pretty impressive. They're balanced with their offense and defense. They could very easily win the Super Bowl. I believe, they are more well balanced than the Patriots. They have more weapons on the outside, more weapons in the run game, more weapons with tight ends. Tight end is pretty close. You got Hunter Henry with the Patriots, and then you got